Was it really ever any surprise that I picked this up? Welcome back, guys. I'm Kyle the Phone Guy, and it's time to talk about this iPhone XS. I was super lucky to finally get, I'm only about like 2 or 3 weeks behind. Finally got my hands on an iPhone XS, and I've got a couple things to think about it. First and foremost, I really like it. They obviously don't take anything away from the old iPhone 10. I love the iPhone 10. Love the iPhone 8 Plus. I like the iPhone ecosystem. It doesn't change much. And I'm just going to kind of reaffirm that, yes, that means it's kind of freaking boring. There's nothing immediately popping out at you. And I even got the regular size XS, mostly because even though I like the larger phones, they're actually not in stock right now, and I didn't want to wait, and I already have cases still and D-brand skins for the regular size, and I'm like, the regular size fits so well in the hand. You know what? Let me just get it. I did get a really good deal on it, and that's the main reason I hopped on it. So it's not like I'm settling, but I digress. So I have, of course, obviously even the same size as the iPhone 10 that I had not too long ago, as you saw before I switched to the LG V30 and did the whole flip-flop thing again. Oof, long story. So I'm here just to talk about my first impressions. I've had the phone for like maybe 8 hours, and just a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours of that has just been resetting everything up. The typical. I didn't start from a iOS backup or an iCloud backup, so I had to go through and re-download everything, which I kind of like because it gets things a little more fresh. It's less likely to have something to bog down the system, and you get the real experience. So yeah, like that. There's no immediate key feature that pops out. I did go for the gold color, so I do have that nice little trim around the edge, and it's really nice. I do like how deep and gold it is, but I'm actually really not as big a fan of it as I thought I would be. I see it a few times, but now that I own it and really get to look at it, it doesn't have the wow factor, I guess. I guess it would take like a product red or something to wow. It's like the iPhone XR has some wow colors. Between the yellow and the blue and the red, those are cool. I guess that's just my personal taste. Everything's subjective. By the way, I'm recording. Obviously, this whole thing is recorded on the iPhone XS, and I'm running no external microphones, so the audio you hear is directly from the microphone, those stereo microphones. So you can hear me over here, and it's probably going to also sound weird because I'm in the attic and we're getting a lot of reverberations here. The acoustics are all right, but they're definitely pretty heavy on the reverb. So I apologize if the audio sounds not great, but I wanted to give you an accurate representation of what it's like to shoot on this phone. Leave a thumbs down. Give me a thumbs up if you want to see how I shoot and see my process for shooting high res or high bitrate video on iPhones. It's a really cool procedure that really helps squeeze just a little bit more out of those iPhone cameras that Apple doesn't want you to necessarily do, and maybe for good reason, but let me know if you want to see that. So going forward, what have I found out? I just let in and I said, I let in with the fact that it's kind of boring, that there's nothing new about it, but I also said I like it. Well, yeah, I do really like it. It's obviously super snappy. It feels great. I'm comfortable. I feel very comfortable knowing that there's now 4 gigabytes of RAM, which, by the way, Google, how the hell are you letting your new flagship phone rock the same amount of RAM as an iPhone? Android flagships have always had at least double. It wasn't even until last year that Apple even put 3 gigs. They've been 2. The iPhone 7 Plus, the iPhone 7 Plus had 3. But 2 years ago, they started throwing 3 gigabytes of RAM, and now they've caught up. At least Samsung now realize that, hey, 6 gigs of RAM is at least, nice to have on their Note 9 and the S9 Plus. But NRAM, it's good to know that extra memory is there in case I want to go back to an app and just having that seamless experience. iOS is all about moving towards just being more seamless. It always has been a pretty close to it, but now we're really starting to edge on that with how fast the processors are becoming and how much memory are on these things. Give us 6 gigabytes of RAM and make sure no app closes completely and just stays kind of in that memory. That would be so nice, but I know it's not possible because that takes up too much battery power for right now. And battery battery. So, in my experience so far, the iPhone XS battery life has been, just kind of meh. I've already had to charge it about 1.5 times, but granted, it's day one, so take that with a grain of salt. It does feel like it drains about as fast as my iPhone 10. It's definitely not draining any faster. And I was largely okay with the iPhone 10 battery life. I obviously prefer the iPhone 8 Plus battery life. In my humble opinion, that has the best battery life on any phone I've ever used, bar none. But the iPhone 8 Plus, this is not. So I'll update that. I'll have to obviously do that in a full review. Leave a comment if you really want to know about that. Also, if you want to know about my charging habits, because I used to charge primarily wireless. However, now I'm probably switching over to fast charging, which I'm not going to be that guy that keeps riding and beating the dead horse about not including a fast charger in the freaking box. Everyone's seen it. You get this thing. I just want to say, Apple, this is the biggest piece of crap that you're giving your customers now. 5 watts is just... I said I wasn't going to be like the other YouTubers, and here I freaking am, rambling on. But just give us an iPad charger. Just throw this away. I'm never going to use this thing. I'm never going to... Here, take this. Take this. Is this paper now? It's not even plastic wrap around it now. It's some kind of... Oh, that's freaking weird. Well, whatever. You see this? It's going down the stairs now. I'll probably never... I'll step it on the way down. Thanks. I did it. But anyway, 12-watt iPad charger should be default. And it's not even that ridiculously fast or even that ridiculously expensive. You charge about $10 to $15 for the 5-watt one, and you charge $20 for the iPad. Just give it to us, please. You don't have to go and grab the 29-watt USB-C super fast charger. Just give us an iPad charger. It charges perfectly fine. I love the speeds on my iPad charger. But just give me another one. My iPad costs $339. This is a $1,000 phone. Logic, please. And you're still giving these headphones, really? I honestly don't think I've seen anyone with an iPhone 10 or 10s that uses earpods. People use earpods on their iPhone 7s, 6s Pluses because they got those phones at a more budget price or are hanging on to them because they don't want to spend the money on the AirPods. You've already got the high-end customers with the AirPods. Throw these things away and give us an iPad charger. Oh, end rant, please. I'm sorry, I didn't want to have to go through all of that, but I didn't realize how much I had pent up about that. So, battery life is fine. The screen now has HDR support, which is really nice looking at YouTube videos. Still not as juicy and saturated as the Samsung displays, which very few rarely are. And it's kind of sad because I actually really preferred last year's iPhone 10 display to almost any other phone display. And this year, it's not bad at all, but I swear the unit I got, I don't know if I don't believe it's an LG made display. I don't know if they're batching Samsung and LG displays together, but it does have some pretty bad blue shifting, and there's some kind of very, very slight off things that just that weren't there last year. The iPhone 10 screen was perfect in its calibration. To my eyes, I'm not very well trained, but I can definitely see where there's more imperfections in the screen. It's not, and what's sad is it's not nearly enough for me to consider going back to the store and inconveniencing everyone with taking the phone back. Now that's a little way too much, especially with, I've already loaded my apps on here. It's not that important, but between the blue shift and the irregular colors, it's just a kind of little bit of a saddening. So man, Kyle, the phone guy, you just slandered the iPhone XS. What? You like it? Why? Ooh. You see, when I'm shooting this camera, I gotta say, I started making videos with an iPhone because it was so seamless. I don't care what anyone says, I love the video stabilization. I love what Apple does to their videos on every single iPhone more than any other phone. There are phones that take better still photos, absolutely. I'll tell you that any day. But when it comes to video, I love these so much. 60 FPS in the front-facing camera. This is the perfect vlog camera, and stay subscribed because I'm definitely going to be proving that to you soon. The stereo speakers are a great accompaniment for it. Maybe not for a shoot like this. Again, I do apologize, but it's definitely a really nice addition to 60 FPS in the front-facing camera, as well as obviously improvements to portrait mode, the adjustable aperture afterwards, and just the all the little things, the smart HDR, the low light photos. I took a shot in almost the dead of the night and it pulled light from almost out of nowhere. There was very little detail once you zoomed into that, but the fact that you were able to get something you could see at all was very impressive. So, man, I spent a lot of time talking about what I don't like, and I guess in my quest to not be another YouTuber harping on the slow charger on here, I ended up spending probably about 5 minutes on the damn thing. But all in all, this is a pretty damn good upgrade. That RAM makes me, just warms my heart knowing that it's there and seeing the apps just stay in memory that much longer. The performance, the gaming, everything's just being so buttery smooth that we expect, but just taking it that slight bit, adding a little bit more sugar on top of that butter. And the cameras are so fun. I'm going to have so much fun playing with those cameras. iPhone XS first day has been pretty fun so far. I can't wait to really put it through its test and put it through the ringer and see just how much better or how much more we get from this one than last year's. So until that day comes, I've been Kyle the Phone Guy. You've been wonderful. Stay subscribed and I will be back again as soon as I can, or whenever you guys decide to poke me and say that you like what I'm doing. I'll see you next time. Oh, na 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 na.